Hey, what is up everybody? Thank you so much for tuning into another one of my videos. And in today's video, we're going to be looking into Burrow. Now, before I jump into the video, please make sure you guys like the video and subscribe for more videos like this, as I do try to be the first person to put out content out there to help everybody understand these new Medium articles that keep coming out every other day. Now, today's video is going to be a little bit hefty, as it does require a deep understanding of how this project will work, the MMF money platform. So as such, I would definitely recommend you watch until the end. Now, for those of you that know how Abracadabra worked and Yeti worked and all these other leveraging platforms, it will be a little bit easier for you to understand. However, for the people that have no idea what Abracadabra or Yeti is at all, I'm going to try to detail this video to the best of my ability so that everybody can understand exactly what MMF money is and how you can potentially make money from it. Alright, so we have the 12th launchpad called Burrow, the first hybrid CDP and fractional collateralized stablecoin platform. Now, it is very important to understand what these terms mean. So CDP, if you guys don't know, it means the collateralized debt position, which is essentially something that everybody holds as soon as you leverage your positions and you have collaterals on the line. I'm going to go into that a little bit more when we look at the platform itself. So right off the bat, it's going to be on the 28th of April at 6 a.m. UTC, and this one is actually going to go on for 24 hours, so definitely do check that out. Now, introducing Burrow for MMF Money, a project by the MMF team. This line is very crucial right here. As you guys can see, it is a project that is owned by the MM Finance team, and which is a team that I personally am extremely bullish on. The Burrow token will be a governance token for the MMF money platform in a limited supply of 300 million. This Burrow token will be distributed in a launchpad, as well as to be distributed to believers of the MMF money platform as yield farming incentives in the beginning. Platform fees and revenues earned from AMOs are distributed back to Burrow holders, and this can come in the form of buybacks and burns, or even in musd revenues being distributed to stakers. First thing to understand here is what the hell is AMOs. So I know a lot of you, if you have a background in finance and stocks, AMOs generally mean asset management operations. However, in this sense, AMOs means the algorithmic market operations, okay? And it's talked about further down below, but just understand that it's strategies that are implemented to essentially make money for the people that are staking the Burrow token. All right, that's the simplest way. So if you stake Burrow token, there's AMOs that are in place to try and bring in yield, which then bring in money, which then gets distributed to all Burrow holders. Now, Burrow utility. Now, in regards to the Burrow utility, I'm going to go through this rather quickly and kind of try to dumb it down a little bit, just because it is quite complicated. And there's been a lot of people in our Discord server that did ask a lot of questions about this. If you guys aren't a part of our Discord, you should definitely do that. As you guys can see, we are talking about the Burrow token right now, and there's people helping the community out there. Now, musd fees from CDP, so remember, collateralized debt position, on the MMF money platform will be redistributed back to users in the form of Burrow tokens. In the future, with higher revenue, the MMF money platform will also redistribute musd to Burrow token holders. This would be more ideal when enough Burrow tokens have been burnt. So for the time being, the fees that are accrued from musd, they will be distributed to the Burrow holders. So where do these fees come from? They come from transactions that are made from other stablecoins to musd, or using musd for other purposes. So if I'm trading 100 musd to MMF, there are some fees that are accrued for the MMF money platform and then distributed to the Burrow token stakers. All right, the next thing, so this is what we're talking about here, guys. The algorithmic market operations, AMOs, also known as strategies, will be deployed to earn revenue. These revenues are estimated to be about 50,000 daily, with moderate adoption of the musd token on the Kronos chain. So once again, this is another way where the revenue will be redistributed back to the Burrow holders. The first way is through fees. The second way is through strategies that are going to be put in place. Number 3, Earn community farming incentives. You'll be able to earn Burrow tokens for providing liquidity for the Burrow MMF and more trading pairs. So right off the bat, what do we know? There is going to be LPs for the Burrow token. So we have one for sure, which is the Burrow MMF LP that is going to be created, but obviously there's going to be more as well. There's probably going to be a Burrow musd LP, I would think, because there is usually one with a stable coin, and you will be able to earn a certain percentage yield there as well. And that is going to be paid out in Burrow tokens, which you will then sell on the market. Now, me personally, I do think the APR on this is going to be extremely high right off the beginning. And right after the Launchpad, these LPs will be visible right after the Launchpad. If you guys go over to the MMF Money page, you can literally click on top here. It says farm, and you guys can see it says coming soon after a Launchpad. So we already know there's going to be the Burrow MMF. I'm curious to see what other LPs are in place and what the APRs actually look like. If the APRs are decent, 1%, 2% every day, you could definitely expect to see the Burrow token absolutely moon, right? But there's going to be a lot of people that buy Burrow tokens. Then there are going to be buybacks and burns to reduce circulating supply in certain strategies. I'm just going to use the word strategies to make it simpler. And then MMF Money Platform will establish close relationships with existing money markets such as Tectonics, musd, Annex that are already on Chronos chain. These are platforms where you can deposit tokens and leverage off of it, right? So for example, if we were to look at Annex, right, you can essentially deposit any of these tokens. You see this, guys? So for example, if I want to deposit Savannah right here, as you guys can see, I'll get 12% on it, and I will be able to leverage, right? So I can borrow a certain percentage of the USD value on Savannah, right? Now, obviously, I'm sure you guys can understand there is a certain amount of risk that is involved in this. For example, if Savannah price all of a sudden goes to 0 and you have 70% of it collateralized, if you have 70% of it borrowed out, your position will get liquidated. Now, I'm going to talk about liquidations just in a little bit, so stick around for that. It's very important you guys understand. I'm trying to make this very detailed. Now, the cross-chain musd. So this is another way how they're going to be making more money for the people that are staking and holding Burrow tokens. The musd token will be deployed cross-chain and will seek to have deep liquidity on popular chains so as to allow users to use musd as a store of value. So similarly how we use USDC, USDT, BUSD, DAI, they want to make musd a cross-chain token that can be used as a store of value. This prompts higher adoption plus market cap, which translates to more revenues that will be returned back to the Burrow holders. So obviously, the more and more musd is used, the more fees are accrued, the more money is returned back to the Burrow holders. So this talks about the Burrow token distribution. As you guys can see, only 5% of the Burrow tokens are actually going to be on the MMF Launchpad. The rest of them are listed right here. And then we talk about the Launchpad format. Now, the first strategy that we talked about of making money, as we saw right here, is essentially getting into the Burrow token and pairing it with MMF and essentially staking this token and getting APR. Another strategy essentially is because of the fact that we know that you're going to need SVN to participate in this Launchpad. We can expect the price of SVN to have an upwards movement during Launchpads. We've seen this happen before. My call out where it went from $1.80 to $3.60. Similarly, if you guys, once again, on our Discord, I do mention right here a call out earlier today at 10 o'clock in the morning. I posted saying that I do expect the price of Savannah to go up slowly but surely. So definitely do keep an eye on this. Now, if we scroll down further below here, guys, you can see here they have the Burrow MMF, and also you'll be able to stake single staking Burrow, and you'll be earning Burrow as well with that. So I personally think this one is probably not going to give that high an APR in comparison to the Burrow MMF. As we always know, LPs always provide the most amount of APR. Now, that goes for the Burrow token. However, it's very important to understand how the MMF money platform is actually going to work. So as you guys can see right here, if we click borrow, right now they are in association with Tectonic, and they have two things. If I invest, for example, $100,000 USDC in here, I'll get a 0.5% interest, and then I can borrow a certain amount of money off of it. Now, as you guys can see, since this is a stable coin, the maximum collateral ratio that I have is 90%. So if I put in $100,000, I can borrow all the way up to $90,000. And you can essentially sandbox that, right? So So in order to explain how hotboxing essentially works with platforms such as Abracadabra and how it will work with MMF money, I'm going to use the example that we have right here that is already available, and obviously you guys can translate this onto Burrow as well. So I'm going to draw it out for you guys just to make it a little bit simpler. So let's say our starting balance is $100,000. Now let's say you come here and you deposit $100,000. All right, guys, then you will be earning 0.5% on $100,000. However, you can pull out 90% in MUSD. So then you would come here and the maximum you could pull out would be $90,000. So from here, we move on to $90,000 here. Right there, like that. And now what you would essentially do is put this $90,000 back into TUSD. So then what you would do is take your $90,000 MUSD, trade it for TUSD, and put it back into here. Now over here you have $190,000. Now you are earning 0.5% on $190,000. Well, you could pull out 90% on this. Now remember, you won't be able to pull out 90% on 190K because you've already pulled out a certain amount. You'll be able to pull out 90% on the new collateral that you put in, so $90,000. So 90% of $90,000 is $81,000. All right. So then you come here and then you're able to pull out another $81,000. All right, so 81K. All right. Now you come back here and you put that 81K into here. So now you have $271,000. All right. And now you're earning 0.5% on $271,000. However, what you can do then is take 90% of the $81,000 now that you put in. So that's what, $73,000, and borrow that in MUSD. Right. So now from here, we continue. We got another $73,000. All right, and then you trade that. You trade the 73,000 you got right here. So from 73 here, you add that onto here. So now you all of a sudden have $344,000 over here, and you're earning 0.5% interest on $344,000. Now you guys understand you could keep doing this over and over and over again until this amount gets substantially larger, right? So then what you would do is take 90% of $73,000, right, guys? So that's $66,000. Then you come back here. Let's just dry it out for you. Then you guys take it from here and you go and you have another $66,000 now, right? And then you come back and you put another $66,000 in here. Now all of a sudden you have $410,000. That is earning 0.5% interest on it. And you guys can understand you can go over and over and over and over again. Now I'm going to speed up this part of the video to kind of see where you would stand at the end of the day. Approximately, of course there are fees involved, but approximately where you would stand if you kept doing this over and over and over again. Now obviously guys, I just stopped this right here because it is quite time consuming, but you would loop this over and over and over and over and over again until your MUSD is, you can't essentially put it back in, and that would be your maximum collateralized position on a stable coin. So you know, USDC is not supposed to essentially move too much, and as such it is maybe considered one of the safer hot boxes. So even if we take this for example guys and we do the math, so $656,790, right, and we times that by 0.5% that we get, so 0.005, you guys can see we'll still make $3,283 after a whole year. Now remember, our initial investment was actually only $100,000, right? So obviously, instead of having your $100,000 making you 0.005%, so instead of having your $100,000 making you $500, because of this hot boxing ability, because you can collateralize 90% every time, 90%, 90%, 90%, you'll be making 6 times this. So as we just saw, you'll be making exactly, if we do the math again real quick, times 0.005. You'll be making more than 6 times the amount. So you're actually making almost 3.5% on your stable coins, right? And obviously, guys, this is not optimized. Remember, you can do this hotboxing system. You can essentially continue this until a lot more. And obviously, you guys can understand if this number is, for example, $1 million. Now you're looking at a little bit more money, right? Now you're looking at $1 million times 0.005. Now you're looking at $5,000. So essentially $100,000 is making you now $5,000, which is 5%. Now obviously, guys, I expect the Burrow, so once the Burrow is introduced and MUSD is introduced, I do expect these interest rates to be a lot higher. Comprehensively, if they are a lot higher, you guys can understand by the method of, you know, hot boxing your money. So by taking the money and putting it back, right? So by going through this entire process of adding on non-stop, you can essentially make a good amount of interest every single year with that strategy. And this is the strategy that is essentially employed on other platforms such as Abracadabra Money and Yeti and so on and so forth. You can essentially, for example, do the same thing here where I deposit AVAX, take out MIM. So MIM is a stable coin, Magic Internet Money, and then buy more AVAX, put it in, take out MIM, so on and so forth. However, of course, there's the risk. Like what happens if AVAX drops a certain percentage, right? So your collateral maximum is 75%. So that means if AVAX drops 25% in price, which we see it happen very often because it is obviously an altcoin, you get liquidated. You lose all your collateral, right? Now obviously for a stable coin, it's less likely to happen. However, when they do introduce other tokens that can be used as collateral, for example like MMF and everything like that, what's going to happen is there's going to be people that are going to stake MMF, and then they're going to pull out USDC and buy more MMF with that and do that hotbox situation. Obviously, this is extremely risky because of the fact that you can get liquidated on assets that are a little bit volatile. Me personally, I've suffered the wrath of Abracadabra with my time investments. So Time Wonderland, which was a project, I don't even want to get into it. But here, essentially, what will happen is they're going to have the same things. However, your liquidations are going to be handled a little bit different. So how are liquidations going to be handled? Well, if you scroll down right here, guys, you see there's a tab called liquidation right at the bottom. Now, what does it say here? Every MUSD is backed by a certain interest bearing token. So IB token. All right. Unlike most protocols where all users' collateral is at risk of a liquidation event, here in MMF, each collateral debt position, so as we discussed CDP, is isolated and only at risk of its own individual liquidations. Very, very key to understand this. To clarify, if a user opens 2 CDPs with 2 different IB tokens, so for example, I open one CDP, I open one leverage position, so where I'm doing, for example, the hotbox with USDC, and I open another CDP with, let's say, MMF, they are able to borrow MUSDs versus those IB tokens individually. So there'll be a certain amount of money that I can borrow off of MMF, whereas there's a certain amount I can borrow off of USDC, and set their risk tolerance accordingly. So if they believe a certain IB token has a higher chance of decreasing in value, they can choose to borrow less MUSD versus that. So if I think that MMF is very volatile, it's gonna dump, or if I think, you know, it's gonna move a lot, then what I'll do is I'll borrow less MUSD based off of that. So if I put in, let's say, $200,000 of MMF, I'll only borrow, let's say, 30%, so or 40%, instead of borrowing 90%, for example, that I would have done with USDC. That being said, there are still times when a user's IB token value will decrease and be flagged for liquidation. In this event, third-party players, usually bots, can choose to repay all the MUSD debt in exchange for the IBT token collateral used for that specific debt. Now, what does this essentially mean? Well, let's say I have $100,000 of MMF that I stake into the MMF money market, and I pulled out $70,000. All right, stay with me, guys. It's very important to understand. if the MMF token price drops by 30%, my $100,000 of MMF is now worth the same as my the amount that I pulled out, which is $70,000, right? Now the problem here is whenever this happens, you will get liquidated, right? As soon as it goes below that, you will get liquidated because the platform recognizes that your MMF is not worth enough money to cover your debt, right? Your collateral is worth less than your debt. Your debt is 70,000. Your collateral is now also 70,000. As soon as it drops from there, you lose all your MMF, right? So what did they do here? What they did is there will be bots, for example, right? The third-party players that will repay your MUSD debt. Okay, so they'll be like, all right, you know what? Crypto Degen took out 70,000 MUSD. I'm gonna pay off his $70,000 MUSD, and in exchange, I'm gonna get all of his MMF tokens. So that's how essentially this system is going to work right here, this last paragraph. And I hope I was able to explain that very clearly. Now, guys, it's very important you understand exactly how the MMF money works, because it's very easy to get liquidated on these. All right. Although you're going to think 20%, 30% is not a lot. It's very visible that such platforms not only help the protocol, there is the downside where there's big whale groups or there's a lot of people that will try to dump the price, right, in order to cause liquidations. Whenever there's a cascading amount of liquidations, there's the token price that might kind of start coming down, which then creates opportunities for these whales to play. So this is good for MMF's future. However, I do think that people that are watching this video, you need to be very careful with what you do here. If you are using stable coins, by all means, do 70%, 80%, 85, 90%, because obviously stable coins are not volatile, but they will still move, right? We know that for a fact that stable coins will still move. Sometimes it's a couple cents less, it's a couple cents more. So you have to be very, 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 very careful with how much you are actually using as your collateral. Now the other tab you guys can see up here is the MUSD 3MM. Now, as you guys already know, we've kind of been over it. I will leave a link right above as well as to how you can maximize your gains and utilize this platform for your benefit. However, I do definitely do think that the APRs that are going to be available in the farming section are going to be the most lucrative because of the fact that you'll be able to LP Burrow with MMF. And I do believe they will be a good percentage return. Now, if they are, remember guys, the strategy, if they are a good percentage return, the price of the Burrow token is essentially going to go high because you're going to need Burrow tokens in order to participate in that liquidity pool. Whereas on the other hand, if the percentages aren't that interesting or that nice at all, if it's like 0.01% a day, we might see the Burrow token suffer in price and drop a little bit because of the fact that there's going to be less demand. Now that is going to be it for this video today, guys. I know that was a lot of information. Make sure you guys kind of rewind and watch certain parts that confuse you. And if my explanation did leave any confusions, you are always welcome to join the Crypto Degen Discord. I'm more than happy to help you guys and answer any questions that you have. I try to be as active as I can, so feel free to join here. We have experienced people that understand how both the Burrow token is going to work, how the farming is going to work, and of course how hotboxing and leveraging is going to work with your collateral. I want to thank you all for watching my video. Stay safe, make wise investments, and as always guys, let's get that bag. Peace.